Hello, Jess. How are you doing?
Oh, Ben, how are you?
I'm very good, thank you. How's life in lockdown at the moment?
I feel like I've literally been in lockdown for like 10,000 years. So I think it gets to be your new normal. Luckily for me, I'm a little bit better off this way. So I'm all right. I'm all right in isolation.
Good. Some people enjoy it, some people don't. Some of those things. Before we get straight into it, would it be okay to give a quick background about yourself and your involvement in the LGBT community?
Yeah, of course. Well, my name is Jess Fishlock, and I play football professionally for Wales, and my career has obviously taken me all over the world. I've been lucky. I think my work with the LGBTQ plus community is that's very close to me personally, obviously, with being out and kind of very, very proud lesbian. It's something that I put a lot of time into, a lot of effort. Hence the big decision to come out very publicly with the BBC a long time ago was kind of the start of my activism, I could say. And I think purely because I knew that there needed to be visibility within our country, within Wales itself. Obviously living in America and all these different countries, you see how kind of progressive they are with that. And I felt that Wales, through a number of reasons, were very non-progressive and needed a little bit more visibility to help. And so that's kind of where it started. And then off the back of that, I've just, worked with a lot of different campaigns to keep kind of pushing that message, which obviously will continue to kind of do and obviously still educate myself. There's a lot of our community that is in different kind of parts. The trans part of our community needs a lot of kind of help, especially right now. And so it's important that we kind of identify that and make sure we support all parts of our community. So that's something that I will probably continue to do forever.
So obviously you are a very high profile athlete and you do have a large social media following. How important is it to you to use that profile and platform to inspire others?
Yeah, it's huge. It's interesting because when you do have a platform like myself, you have to stay true to who you are. There's a balance between staying true to who you are and allowing your platform to see your personality, but then also use your platform for good, right? And especially in politics, and that's really hard because you have to be really careful where you kind of tread. But I think for myself especially, I kind of throw politics out the window because the bigger message is that the LGBT community needs help, and it needs to feel safe, and it needs to feel this, and it needs to feel that. And not just that, there's obviously BLM movement that's going on right now. Everything that kind of enables people to feel safe in communities that are probably felt really kind of neglected. Our platform has to be a safe place for them. And so it is so important that when I use my platform, it's for voices for those who probably don't have a voice.
You've obviously had a massive positive impact on everyone because you were named Pink List's most influential LGBT person in Wales. What was it like getting that recognition?
Yeah, it was really nice actually. The woman actually got in touch with my family first, which was nice. Yeah, and because I was in America. But yeah, of course, look, it's always really nice to get recognition. I think everybody in the world will accept that, and when you do things, then you don't do it for the recognition, but then when you get it, it's nice that you realize it's been noticed. So that was really nice, and especially if it was Wales. I love Wales, so anything that happens with us, it always feels 10 times nicer. So yeah, it was great. I had my family actually ship out the little plaque they sent me to America. And my mum was like, really? I was like, yeah, I want to see my little plaque.
So recently you've been involved in the charity Stonewall. And obviously, for those of you who don't know, Stonewall is the UK's leading LGBT equality charity that aims to let all lesbian, gay, bi and trans people know they're not alone. Stonewall empower LGBT people to be their authentic selves, enabling them to realise and achieve their full potential, and they empower LGBT people and allies to create positive change. So could you just explain to us your role in Stonewall and what you actually do?
I can try.
Yeah,
So
it might be one.
it is a little of a tough one because my role is very new to me. I obviously just got it a couple of months ago and just kind of activated that role. It's obviously the Stonewall campaign that we have in football specifically runs just a couple of weeks a year, which I personally feel is not long enough. And so want to kind of help the campaign be all year round in its different kind of ways and its different areas, which is obviously going to be part of the role. And so I think, yeah, it is just, you know, adding to the visibility, but also working behind the scenes throughout the year to keep pushing the campaign that obviously gets so visible in football for 2 weeks of a year, maybe it goes up to a month. But it needs to be more. And so, you know, I'm trying to actively be a part of that message that, okay, yeah, it's good to kind of hone in on it, but, you know, for the rest of the year, these people still need help too. And you know, Stonewall is a fantastic organization and they do so much good work. So it's actually just really nice to be a part of such an inclusive organization.
So obviously you kind of just touched on it there. Stonewall recently had the campaign Rainbow Laces. And again, for people out there that don't know what Rainbow Laces is, it's a campaign set up by Stonewall, which distributed almost 1 million pairs of rainbow laces that was worn by athletes to promote the LGBT community. So how well do you think that campaign actually promoted LGBT in football? And from your standpoint, do you believe that was a successful campaign? Or like you said then, do you think it should have gone on a lot longer?
Yeah, look, the campaign up until this year, I've always thought has been, I don't want to say ineffective because that's the wrong word, but it has not been as effective as it could be. This year, I think, was the first year where clubs, Premier League players took responsibility for what the actual campaign represents. And that's where it changed my mindset on what can be done in the Premier League and in football, because as soon as those clubs and the individuals for those clubs, whether they be straight, gay, I mean, there's no one out gay, but that doesn't mean that they don't exist. So my point is that as soon as those clubs and the players took responsibility for their campaign and made it personal and made it public for them, then the message and the campaign became so much stronger. And this was the first year that happened. And so now for me, it's kind of like, right, this is where we start now. And now we have to start from here. Because I feel like previous years, it's kind of just been, all right, yeah, we'll do that. But it wasn't really, they didn't take responsibility for it. But this year they did. And I thought that was, you know, just unbelievable and had such a big impact. And that was only the first year that happened. So I'm really excited for it to carry on now at this level at least, and then more over the next couple of years.
So do you think that the LGBT community is accepted within football, or do you still feel like there's still a long way to go?
Both. I feel that the LGBT community in women's football is a no-brainer. It's fine. It's so visible that it's, you know, it's hard to miss, really, which is great. In the men's game, not so much. I don't believe that there's no gay players in men's football, right? I believe that there is. considerable amounts of them, right? Just via numbers and science and whatever. So do I think that it's not a safe place for them? No, of course it is, right? Because obviously they're there, they're playing. It's just, it's not public, it's not talked about, it's not knowledgeable. So we don't know anything. So it's very hard to, you know, talk about that because we just don't know. But do I think it's a safe enough place for people to come out publicly? No, I don't. And that is where I always have this kind of fight with people that are like, oh, just come out, like, you know, Jesus, just do it, like, we need you. That is so unfair. It is so unfair to put that amount of pressure and responsibility on another human being. And so I don't feel like we should do that. Our job is to make football and society safe enough that if a gay footballer decided to come out, then it wouldn't harm them. And we're just not there yet. We're just not. You see everything that goes on right now when United lose a game and the racism that comes out. People think that that's not going to happen if someone who happens to be gay misses a chance or whatever. That's the first thing that's going to happen, you know, and we're just not ready for that. We're just not. And it's not right to put that on somebody.
So obviously Stonewall's chief executive was thrilled to have you on board. One of the main reasons being was that you're so open about who you are and how inspiring you are to others. Has that always been the case for you? And if not, how did you overcome that?
No, it wasn't always the case for me at all. I think it took me a long time actually to just kind of be like, I don't care anymore. Basically got to that point of not really caring what other people thought or what people said, and didn't allow their kind of reactions to hurt me, you know, and ultimately just got to the point where my mindset was, well, it's just not me, it's them, it's their problem, you know, I haven't got time for that type thing. How I got there, it's a great question, you know. I think time, for one, and also leaving the UK and going to different countries and being a part of their culture helped tremendously. I remember I actually went to Holland, was my first country to play, and their culture and their kind of society made me feel far safer in the 2 years I was there than the UK society did, or Wales, you know. And that's not a slight on us as a society, but, you know, are we the nicest? I don't actually think that we are from going around the world, you know. We're just not. We have such a bad society, really. And so I think that really helped me, Ben, because I was able to find myself in a non kind of hateful environment. And then what I ended up doing was still being able to be that person when I came home, and that then just allowed me to grow and grow and grow and grow and grow. And, you know, I'm very lucky. I have a great family. They support me. My friends support me. You know, that's always helpful. So I just was really lucky, I guess, that was my kind of pathway, and that helped me just shape who I am, and also just accepting who I am and just not really taking much shit. Yeah.
And finally, what are your hopes for the LGBT community in sport, and where do you see it in 10 years' time?
Great question. Look, I hope that we keep pushing the message that the LGBT community is allowed and is very safe in sports, and keep kind of having a platform for the athletes that are in all kinds of sports. You know, yes, football is important, of course, because it is the biggest sport in the world, but also in all other sports, you know, like when a kid grows up, they can be whoever they want to be. So it's important that it's arts as well, and theatre, and, you know, and music. It's important that there is visibility for every kid that is growing up to feel connected to something, because you never know what goes on at home or in school or any of those things. The beauty of kind of the world right now is you can connect to anything and anyone with your phone or, you know, your watch nowadays. I think that works as well. So, you know, that is great. So it's important for us as a community to ensure that we're represented over the entire spectrum. That is very important for us. And then I do hope that we keep fighting the fight with the trans side of it as well, to ensure that, you know, they don't have safety in sport right now. They don't really have much safety anywhere. And it's important as us as a community to stick together in helping all aspects of our community, and we don't start inner fighting, because that would negate a lot of the work that we've done over the last couple of decades.
One last question. Obviously, you're an MBE. Everyone knows that. How did it feel? I have to remind you one more time, you are an MBE. How did it feel to actually be awarded with an MBE? Was that one of the proudest moments of your career?
Yes. And the reason why was because it wasn't just about my football. And I think that was why it was kind of so important to me personally. Because yes, okay, my football's great, right? And I understand that, I really do. But kind of who I am as a person, and what I give my time to, and my platform, and kind of helping others, and that is obviously is far more important to me than my football. And I know that sounds crazy, but it just is. Like I won't be playing football one day, and, you know, they'll just be something that happened. Whereas who I am and what I stand for and who I fight for, that will continue for the rest of my life. And so it was a really proud moment for me, but also my family, that it wasn't just my football that got recognized. Because I mean, that still would have been cool, of course, but I don't think it would have meant quite as much as it being a part of who, as it was for getting it, for being the person that I am as well, and the work that I do for human beings.
Well, those are all the questions we actually have for you today. I'd just like to thank you very, very much for taking the time out of your day to speak to us. And we hope this interview can inspire others around the world and educate those about the LGBT community. So thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you so much.
No problem. Thank you. Thank you your friend, right, that reached out. She probably had a shock as I messaged her.
Yeah, big shout out to Hayley as well.
Yeah, of course. No problem. Anytime.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Cheers.
you so much.
No problem. Bye bye.